All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It's that time of the week, folks. My weekly picks in the world of the National Football League. Got things started on the right foot on Thursday night as I took the Chicago Bears at home over the Carolina Panthers. Was a sloppy game, as was to be expected by two of the not so good teams in the NFL this year. But with that said, we've got some tremendous games on tap for tomorrow, as well as the Monday night affair. And with that said, here are my picks for this week number 10 in the NFL season. Now, I'm going to get things started tomorrow in Frankfurt, Germany, as you're going to have a pair of sub 500 teams making the trip to Europe, as it's the 4-5 Indianapolis Colts taking on the 2-7 New England Patriots. And for the Colts, they're looking to get to 500, and they're also looking to add to the woes of the New England Patriots. It's really no secret as far as how the Patriots and their young quarterback Mac Jones have struggled on offense so far this season. And of course, this Colts defense is definitely going to look to take advantage of that. I've talked about this before with Gardner Minshew, the Colts quarterback, and I will continue to say it. He can throw you into a game, and he can also throw you out of a game. It's going to be interesting to see if Bill Belichick can cook up anything to try to confuse the quarterback, but it's easier said than done, being that there are several key Patriots defenders that didn't even make the trip to Germany. The Patriots come into this contest 2-7, and they've been struggling for a while. I think those struggles continue tomorrow, and I'm going to take Indianapolis by the score of 24-20. Now, moving back to the States, you're going to have the 4-4 Houston Texans traveling to take on the 5-1 Cincinnati Bengals. And right now, after the slow start, the Bengals are playing like one of the best teams in the National Football League. But even though that Cincinnati comes into this contest favored by 6.5 points, they cannot overlook the upstart Texans, who are been playing some good football as of late, especially their rookie quarterback in CJ Stroud. But then you look at what Joe Burrow is doing right now at quarterback for the Bengals. He's playing like an MVP. That calf looks a lot better. And of course, when this offensive line of Cincinnati is able to give Burrow time, he can pick you apart, especially with Jamar Chase on the outside. Now, this pass rush for the Bengals has been getting better and better, and it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to be able to contain CJ Stroud tomorrow. I think that Houston will be game, and they're going to give the Bengals all that they can handle and then some. But Cincinnati right now is the better team. Because of that, I'm going to take the Bengals at home by the score of 27-20. Now at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, you're going to have the 5-4 Minnesota Vikings welcoming the 5-4 New Orleans Saints to town. Now New Orleans comes into this contest favored by 3, but of course, for the Vikings, they're hopeful that Josh Dobbs can strike again. Of course, it was a tremendous story last week for the Vikings as they beat the the Falcons on the road, rather, where Josh Dobbs arrived to the team midweek, didn't even know some of the players' names, and was still able to rally the Vikings to a road win. But the strength of the Saints team has been their defense all season long. Their offense has been up and down at times, and I think they will do just enough to go there and spoil Josh Dobbs' first home game as the Vikings starting quarterback. And because of that, I'm going to take New Orleans by the score of 24-20. Now, in the Steel City, you're going to have the 5-3 Steelers welcoming the 3-5 Green Bay Packers to town. And for Pittsburgh, it hasn't been pretty, but they've been winning ugly. But at the end of the day, you'll take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day of the week. And the Steelers, they're 5-3, and they're right there in the midst of playoff contention. I look at it like this: Pittsburgh will continue to lean on their defense, even though that they have some injuries, and their solid running game with Najee Harris. And that Pittsburgh defense, they're going to go out there and they're going to beat after Packers quarterback Jordan Love. I think that Pittsburgh defense is the difference in this one. And because of that, I'm going to take the Steelers at home tomorrow by the score of 24-17. Now in Tampa, you're going to have a pair of 3-5 teams looking to hang around in the postseason picture in their respective conferences, as it's the Tennessee Titans traveling to take on the 3-5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Very interesting here. So far this season, Tampa's 1-3 at home, while Tennessee has yet to win a game on the road. The Bucks, they've been in some contests. They've been hard luck losers. Just look at last week, uh, as they fell in the waning seconds to the Houston Texans. But I think some home cooking and some solid quarterback play from Baker Mayfield will be the difference in this one. Thus, I'm going to take Tampa at home by the score of 24-20. Now, a pair of teams that won their divisions last year and a pair of teams who are coming fresh off of their bye is the 5-3 San Francisco 49ers making the trek cross country to take on the 6-2 Jacksonville Jaguars. And very quietly, Jacksonville has been playing some of the best football in the National Football League. Trevor Lawrence is the real deal, and very quickly, the organization has done a solid job in regards to putting a team around him. Now, for the Niners, excuse me, they got off to that 5-0 start. They've lost their last three. Injuries are a big part of that, and I think that the Niners have just lost their identity in regards to being physical on both sides of the football. Still no Trent Williams at offensive tackle for the 49ers, but Debo Samuel is expected to be back, and the Niners have to get some semblance of order going in this run game. But the biggest thing is their defense. And like I said, recently the 49ers have simply lacked their identity. This is a very good test for San Francisco as they look to get back on track. Very good test for Jacksonville. San Francisco comes into this contest favored by 3. I think it's going to be a tight contest throughout. And I'm going to take the Niners on the road by the score of 24-22. Now in Baltimore, you're going to have the 7-2 Ravens welcoming the 5-2 Cleveland Browns to town. And for Baltimore, they've been going out there and they've been taking care of their business. And most recently, in their home games, they've been very, very physical at the line of scrimmage, and they've been blowing people out. They've just been beating people up. For the Browns, this is just their fourth road game of the season, as they've been living off of home cooking. And in the second half of the season, that's going to catch up to them. The Browns, it has not been pretty on offense, even with Deshaun Watson back, but it's all about this Cleveland defense. Will they be able to slow down Lamar Jackson and company tomorrow? That remains to be seen. But nonetheless, Baltimore is a juggernaut at home. And because of that, I will take the Ravens tomorrow by the score of 31-19. Now, in the desert, you're going to have the 1-8 Arizona Cardinals hosting the 4-5 Atlanta Falcons. And it will be the season debut of Pro Bowl quarterback Kyler Murray. Of course, Murray had that knee injury towards the end of last season, spent so many months rehabbing his knee, and he looks like he's good to go. We have to see how Kyler Murray is going to look in this offense under new head coach Jonathan Gannon. Now, for the Falcons, what can you say? Last week was another heartbreaking loss, excuse me, for this team. Tyler Heineke is another one of those quarterbacks. He can throw you into a game and he can also throw you out of a game. Atlanta is still searching for answers at the quarterback position. I don't think that their franchise quarterback is on this team this year. Nonetheless, the Cardinals are still trying to figure it out themselves. And I think Atlanta will be able to take advantage of that tomorrow. This, I'm going to take the Falcons over the Cards by the score of 27-20. Now in Inglewood tomorrow, you're going to have the 4-4 Los Angeles Chargers hosting the 6-2 Detroit Lions. Detroit, they come in off of their bye. They're tops in the NFC North, and they want to keep things going as they're looking not only to win that division for the first time in a month of Sundays, but they're also thinking about playoff seeding. On the flip side for the Chargers, they got a big win last week on the road against the Jets on Monday night, and I'm not going to overlook that because the Chargers can play down to the level of their competition. Nonetheless, the Chargers got to find a way to get it going. They've got too much talent on this team to be 4-4, but it is what it is. Will this Chargers defense, led by Joey Bosa, be able to put some pressure on Lions quarterback? Almost said Vikings quarterback. Lions quarterback Jared Goff. This Detroit team, they're another Jekyll and Hyde team. I know that they're 6-2, but they can look great one week and look bad in another. I think this is going to be a back and forth affair between two teams. In spite of their records, I feel like they're still trying to figure it out. But nonetheless, I'm going to take the Lightning Bolts at home by the score of 27-24. Now in Arlington, you're going to have the 5-3 Dallas Cowboys welcoming the 2-7 New York Football Giants to town. Dallas is a huge favorite in this game. They're favored by 17 points. It's scary for some people because typically in recent years, when we've seen a team be favored by so many points in the National Football League, they don't tend to cover. I don't think this is going to be one of these scenarios. We saw these two clubs face off in week number one on Sunday Night Football, where Dallas blanked the Giants on their home turf 40 to nothing. A lot has changed for the Giants since then. Most notably, they will not have the services of quarterback Daniel Jones for the rest of the season, as he was lost for that knee injury last Sunday against the Raiders. On the flip side, for the Dallas Cowboys, they're looking to get back on track after a heartbreaking loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this game right here is going to sum up the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas has proven that they can beat up on the bad teams, and they're so against the good teams. I guarantee you what's going to happen is Dallas is going to take care of their business tomorrow, and then a lot of people are going to be praising them, talking about them once again being Super Bowl contenders. But nonetheless, I'm going to take Dallas big in this one by the score of 41-13. Now, in the Pacific Northwest, excuse me, you got the 5-3 Seattle Seahawks welcoming the 4-5 Washington Commanders to town. Now, Seattle comes into this contest favored by 6 points. And for this Seattle team, they got it handed to them last Sunday on the road against the Baltimore Ravens, and they want to try to get back on track. Seattle's got to get back to their identity, and what their identity is running the football. And one trend with this Washington team all season long, their offensive line has not done a good job in protecting quarterback Sam Howell. And of course, Sam Howell has not done a good job in avoiding pressure. I think that the Seahawks defense will take advantage of that tomorrow. And because of that, I'm going to take Seattle at home by the score of 31-20. Now, on Sunday night in Vegas, you're going to have the 4-5 Raiders hosting the 4-4 New York Jets. And for the Raiders, last week was good for them. Their first win in their first game under interim head coach Antonio Pierce, and this team responded against the Giants. Now you get to welcome the other tenants of MetLife Stadium to town, and like the Giants, they have their offensive woes as well with quarterback Zach Wilson. But the Jets are bringing a defense with them to Las Vegas, and I want to see what this Jets defense is going to do against Raiders rookie quarterback Aiden O'Connell. You got Devontae Adams at wide receiver for the Silver and Black, going up against this vaunted Jets secondary and this Jets defense overall. Will the Jets get enough pass rush to slow down Aiden O'Connell? We got to wait and see. New York comes into this contest favored by 1 point. The over-under is 36.5. I don't think either combined these teams get to that tomorrow. Listen, but I am going to take the Jets by the score of 17-16. And finally, on Monday night, you got the 5-4 Buffalo Bills hosting the 3-5 Denver Broncos. Buffalo comes into this contest favored by a touchdown, and the Bills, they just got to try to find a way to get it going and get into a rhythm. Last week, the slow start against the Cincinnati Bengals really hurt them, and they're taking on the Denver Broncos team that they're 3-5, yes, but Denver has been playing better as of late under new head coach Sean Payton. So you want to enter. It's going to be interesting to see if that trend will continue for the Broncos as they're looking to find their way under Sean Payton. But nonetheless, Buffalo is a very tough team at home. They're 4-1 this season, and I think come Monday night it's going to be 5-1. And because of that, I'm going to pick Buffalo by the score of 27-20. So folks, those are my picks for this Sunday and Monday night in the world of the National Football League. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. TFX, how are you doing? Sorry for the delay in the picks. But you're saying thank you. Enjoy the games tomorrow. Don't forget to set the alarm for 9:30 a.m. Don't worry, I'll be up and I'll be watching some games or a game rather uh, over in Europe. And let's see, like I said, it's a battle of sub 500 teams. Let's see who wants it more. But at this point, if you're the New England Patriots, I know you want to win games, but also it's very enticing thinking about having a top five pick in next spring's NFL draft. But nonetheless, this is William Martin signing off and saying thanks once again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.